How do you know Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat. Welcome back to Let's Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. It's good to be with y'all today, and I hope you're having a good day. Thank you for the surprise early stream. I had a meeting come up, and that's life. So it's like, you know what? We're just gonna go live rather than have a short stream. But it's good to see a Bad Rex, good to see a Step Zero, good to see a Gale, good to see a Beer Fox, good to see a Quacksplat. I hope everyone's doing well. And Bad Roxy, congratulations, you have won the Crown of Furstendom yet again. It is a hat trick, a soccer joke. For your crown of Furstendom this day, lo, it hangs heavy upon thy brow. 10-minute intro. It's what I do. It lets the thing go out. And that's a hockey joke. Well, there you go. Sporps. And oh man, 45 watch streak. Well done, Roxy. I'm getting wrapped up in my cables. You're also playing Minecraft on a more crowded server. You're in the wilderness to avoid land claims. That seems wise. Anyway, we're going to be working on a library, I think. So let's go ahead. Let's dive on in. You're about a week and a half from spawn working on a museum. Define a week and a half. Anyway, the reason we can build a museum is I found a lot of books and bookshelves. I was thinking these redwood, the redwood wood would be good and interesting to work with. Let's go wood shopping, though. Come on, you can fly. Okay, so these tall, skinny red things are Zacovia. We have a lot of that. Oh, you walked for 11 in-game days. Okay. Hilariously, that may not be as far as you think. I think this is witch hazel. Yeah. Yeah. No. I don't like witch hazel planks. They're too green. You're further than any land claim. That's an important part. Witch hazel, dishazel. We got spruce and oak and all the classic stuff. They've built the ISS. Yeah, that sounds like a Minecraft server. What are these yellow trees? Sika. Sika. Ah, it's very red. I don't... Oh no, that's the redwood. Wait. Ooh, Secret Blanks are a nice, like, dark brown. Hey, Brayherd. I should have brought... Oh, I did bring another axe. Good. Eyes. Has. It's good you has eyes. This is a great mod. Hey, JM. Yeah, sometimes it'll, if you have a sapling in your inventory, it will also replace it. Okay. Oh, Spawn is that way. Okay. Because now that it's dark and I can't see anything, the monsters are gonna be coming out. We ride. So I was thinking of building this sort of down at the base of the mountain where I am. Let's land on top of the tree to stay safe. I can't tell. Should I have a Flight of the Valkyries or Flight of the Bumblebee whenever I'm flying on my Heracross? Bumblebee. Oh, major update is coming out for this server. Our server manager said, so hopefully that means that people can actually fight in my gym. Grab this other redwood, because that's going to be like the support beams. May as well take all the books with us for now. And I'm stuck on the fence again. Yeah, I was kind of thinking like down here. Near the crops. So I probably need to level out some ground as a first order of business. Don't need saplings because I don't want these to regrow. Put a workbench down here. Make some treasure chests. So we can store all of this. So I think this is going to be our level. I gotta deal with the spider first. Bad spider. Maybe this should be the level, actually. You did not. Good to see you, Kit. Well, happy feast of St. Agnes. She's a martyr of the church. Her name means lamb, and there's a great tradition that on this day, lambs are blessed by the Pope, and then at the feast of Saints Peter and Paul in the summer, June 29th, the wool from those lambs will be used to make the pallia, the sort of vestment the archbishops wear around their shoulders and neck, symbolically representing the way they carry the lambs of their diocese. So there's a great video today of Pope Leo blessing the lambs. What's today's goal? We're just working on the library, so I don't know if we have a goal so much as it's just continually working on the thing. I don't have much of a design in mind right now. I think it'll be kind of alpine so that it matches the house. This is the one with the Pokemon. So how big do we want this library to be? I mean, one thing for sure is I want like a nook on one end. That's going to be our enchanting table space. So that needs to be approximately like 5 by 5. Because this is where you put the enchanting table, and this is where you put the books. So if we did that, could make it like a little apps on the outside. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. That seems like a good width. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take some of this Sika. Let's turn it planks. Learn every recipe in the book. Oh, you can't see that. It's behind my face. Actually, if we do it this way... Oh, that won't work. Never mind. I thought I was being clever. Actually, the walls should really go... that size, because this is where the actual table will be. No, here's the question. How deep should the library be? And I'd like it to have, like, 2 levels in the end, I think. So this will probably just be on the ground level, but then... I need so many more books. I need to set up a, parchment farm. 7! It is rapidly approaching nighttime. Fortunately, we're working pretty close to our home, so... Ow. Smacked inside of the building. What do I need to make a chair? Honestly, the modern chair looks like it'd be pretty comfy for a library. The witch hazel chair is kind of crazy. Look at those colors. We'll worry about furniture second, though. Come on, it's basically nighttime. Let me go to sleep. You take care, Kit. So I had a thought. What if... I was trying to think, like, how do we make this different or special? And it's like, well, I could make a curve, but then it's like, so what? I do a lot of those. But I was thinking, what if we made, like, little reading nooks? Why is this off center? Is one side longer than the other? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, that's exactly what it is. There we go. And then we'll have the doors right here. Like this will all be glass, so it'll be like a nice reading area. So I should just go get the glass. I don't have a ton of glass, but I have a little. How much sand do I have? I need to organize this so badly. It's such a chaotic mess. Okay, we're probably going to have to go get sand at some point before finishing this build, but that's another day's problem. Good old chest monsters. Are you calling me a chest monster? Back in my day, we called those chest bursters. Disorganized mess of chest, a chest monster. Yeah, but who makes the chest monster? What kind of a door do these things make? That might work. I'm gonna leave him for now. I think I like him. I had to think about it. Now to bartering the server at 3 ads. Welcome to SMP. So I will want to add windows, like, well, I guess not, because it's going to be surrounded by bookshelves, so that's actually fine. Man, it's such a coincidence that Frankenstein made Frankenstein's monster. Offering diamonds for laying dirt paths has a sheep monopoly. That's a sentence. These corners will be visible to the outside, so that's why they matter. No! Why? Stripped redwood is like cherry red. I was not prepared for that. That hurt the eyes. Oh, I have... I think I have goofed somewhere, because this needs to be a 3x3. It's that, or... turn into a 3x3, what winds up happening is one of these doors goes away, and I do like the double door look. Goodbye, sun. It's still early yet. That's what it's like living in a mountain. I guess I could do something like this. So it's not going to be the most efficient enchanting room. You have a house now. I'm glad, Inca. We were worried about you living in the dirt. I also screwed this up because... How many... Okay, so you do get the 3 books back. I don't care about the wood. I've got so much... Oh, hey, Mail Tank. How you doing? Let's make the alcove wider. I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking right now, but... That still doesn't solve the even-odd question. Make a moon door. I don't know what a moon door is. Ow! No, listen here, you. I'm gonna throat chop you. Door stacked, trapdoors door. Did you ever have a... could you ever would you ever have a dream? Excuse me. I am trying to find knowledge. Oh, that's a creeper. That could actually be a problem. Oh no, creeper. Why can't I scan this creeper with my Pokedex? It turned that Pidgey into a baked chicken. I think what we'll do is we'll have 2 enchanting tables right here. I like to keep it symmetrical. Step doors to space your double door apart by 1. Yeah, but these kind of just look nice together. Dio, hey, thank you for the lurk. I should exercise tonight. Especially after that lunch I just had. I went out to lunch with a brother and went to my favorite local ramen place. It's very good. It has a chicken-based broth. So this is what I'm thinking for, like, the first floor. And then the second floor can start up here. Probably want to make somewhere Sika. Pressure plate. Sika slab. I don't know if I want to make that many slabs, but... And we'll have more reading nooks on the second level, because why not? It's my library. I can have all the reading nooks I want. Who's going to stop me? Yeah, it's probably a good thing I'm not a homeowner, because if I was a homeowner, I'd probably just turn my whole house into a library. You know there's places where you can buy books by volume? I don't see the problem. That might be part of the problem. This is what most priests do. Okay, so I knew this one priest. He lived with us in DC. He's part of the community known as the Resurrectionists. Really cool dude. He and his dad built these modular bookshelf boxes where they can be stacked easily and securely and stably, but the backside also will slide out and become a lid, and they have handles so that when it's moving time, doesn't have to move every book into boxes. They're already in the boxes. Move somewhere else? Great! See, the problem with the second layer here, though, is because books need to go here, and we're going to need a railing because, you know, safety. Most priests turn their houses into libraries. I mean, fair. I have had to acquire some bookshelves in my time here. Safety in video games? I'm gonna knock this piece out just to help us mark. So this is kind of where our spiral staircase can be built. Yeah, you know, if I don't follow the safety rules, the town council of the server might come after me. You never know. You finished the Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough? Wow. So what's next? Like, what does the group do now? Like, have an existential crisis? Yeah, the HOA. Who on our server is the HOA? Who on our server is the HOA and why is it Inca? You said it, not me. Okay, who on the server in their character would be the HOA? I don't think Major Oshib Kishneg would be on the HOA. Still you. What do you mean there's a creeper in here? No! No! So rude. Dirt. I feel like Major Oshib Kishneg would serve on the school board, though. I need to spawn-proof my library. No, I don't. Everything's fine. Hold on, we're getting an update about the installation of our new Archbishop. Okay, it's nothing important, just reminding us to RSVP, which I did. Big Scar Energy creating spawn farms? I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, Chizo, lucky 7. Lucky number 11. Good movie. Unfortunate name. Lucky 7! You're right, I did. Well, it's better than 6-7. Installation. The installation failed. We have to restart from the beginning. Where's the introit? That'll trigger the youths. Yeah, but there's no youths here. We're all old. Oops. Old, the PS3 came out 5 years ago. Oh, Gale. Gale. I've got some bad news, buddy. Kingdom Hearts 3 is a new game. Actually, you know what? We'll have a window here as well, because why not? Right now, we gotta wait for our video games to load. Download more RAM. Hey, it's Gruffy. PS2's not retro. Retro is reserved for things 15 years or older. You may want to sit down, buddy. Cannot afford more RAM. There, we'll build a slanted roof here. And then I'm thinking like an A-frame here with rafters made of the redwood. Let's go get some iron bars, because we do have plenty of those. You can stir Mao Wam. Well, first you delete System 32. Is the Steam Deck cheap? I don't think it qualifies as cheap. Affordable, maybe. Cheap is relative to disposable income? Yeah, well, guess what I don't have a lot of. Especially when I buy books, and I just bought more books. When I get a PS5, I'm honestly not really interested in getting a PS5 at this point. Choose Millennial Man. Books or games? Well, see, I cheated the system, and work pays for both. Because I have a book allowance. Why am I going this way? I have a book allowance, and because of this, I have a games allowance. Probably gonna do something with this. I don't like how it's all looking right now, but we'll worry about that after general construction is finished. That's how paychecks work. Yeah, okay, but mine's not from my paycheck. Especially the games. I get to buy the games with the company credit card. Or it's supposed to be able to write Pokemons in Minecraft. Why not? I just did. Says who? The Forbidden Square. My gym is mostly challenge ready. It just needs the ability for Pokemon to spawn in there. Which is coming soon, TM. I don't think they're supposed to go together. Well, there's actually several mods that allow you to add Pokemon to Minecraft, so... Inca knows where the parties are. And also where my channel is. Talk about you, not me. What if we talked about Par instead? Does Par have question? Par always has question. Par is question. Scruffy also has questions. Well, I can attempt to answer questions. I don't know if I'll be able to, but I can attempt. Have we Roteda? We have Roteda, but we can always Roteda again. It is the feast of Saint Agnes, early martyr of the church, and her name meaning lamb. She has a strong connection actually to archbishops in that lambs are blessed on her feast day, and then the lambs grow when they're sheared, and that wool is used to make the pallia, which is the a vestment that archbishops wear around their shoulders, symbolically representing caring for their flock. Maybe Zelkova would look good for furniture. Dive bomb them, Heracross. Now, I might go in and add some roof windows here. Oh, I don't want a barn door. What do I need for table? Got side tables. They're just regular table. I need fencing. A coffee table. Okay, let's make some Zelkova fencing then. Desk. Fair Scruffy or fair Scruffy? Well, I thought Scruffy was a pretty fair person, especially as a DM. There, we'll have that probably come to about there. Jeff's question of the day is, how does the church view the difference of the lay priesthood versus everyone who is part of the church has versus ordained priesthood? That is a great question. So there is, I think it's just helpful just to define the two terms. And I think that does show a lot of the difference. And this is coming from a Catholic perspective, obviously. So the priesthood of all believers is that we share in by virtue of our baptism. When we are baptized, we share in Christ's high priesthood, and that kind of priesthood is rooted in offering spiritual sacrifice. And it's uniting our spiritual sacrifices with that of Christ to draw ourselves more deeply into the mystery of his death and resurrection. The ordained priesthood is a new priesthood meant for the church to help facilitate that in many ways. Obviously, the Eucharist being kind of the greatest expression of it, but it is a separate, but not above. Like, you don't want to get into clericalism, but it is separate and at the service of the whole church. In order to help them experience and facilitate that sense of sacrifice, especially at the Mass. So one is something that all Christians share in and is part of our universal call to holiness and our understanding of living out lives of prayer, worship, and sacrifice. And the ordained is... to fulfill particular functions within the life of the church, particularly the seven sacraments, administering them, and with the administration of church, although certainly not exclusive to. Do I have more Zelkova logs? Does that make sense, Scruffy? What is my favorite exotic candy? Oh dear, probably not what I'm about to spin. So I think my favorite exotic candy is cactus. And I think it's important to note that both the baptismal priesthood and the ordained priesthood are both rooted and come from Christ. They are. That reminds me. Yay, a second candy spin. Mwahaha. No, it's...
Mwahaha, the French.
The main reason for asking the question is because you've been reading Hebrews. Reads to me like we're all priests under one high priest being Jesus. Yeah, no, and I do think so. Like, that's part of the Catholic sacramental theology, is that when someone is baptized, when a baby is baptized particularly, we anoint them and we say, you have been anointed to share in Christ's roles as priest, prophet, and king. So there is a sense in which all people, by virtue of all Christians, by virtue of their baptism, share in the priesthood of Christ, and that sense, especially that so much of what the Liturgy of the Hebrews talks about is that sense of sacrifice and understanding that as worship. This is going to get interesting. You love interesting. Yeah, well. But yeah, no, I think for sure there is a spiritual sense, and I think Second Vatican Council really highlighted this in some beautiful ways, of the way that we share in what the Latin word is munera, meaning office, and we share in the munera of priesthood of Jesus, so that we can offer ourselves and our lives as spiritual sacrifice. And this no way invalidates that there's also an ordained priesthood that Christ has chosen to institute for his church, particularly to celebrate the sacraments. In fact, the two need to go hand in hand and bolster each other. Without the royal priesthood, you're not going to have anyone who can be ordained a priest. Without anyone who's ordained a priest, a ministerial priest, they cannot celebrate in the greatest unity of sacrifice, that being the Eucharist. Because that's what we are called to do in the celebration of the sacrament, is unite ourselves ever more deeply by participation in and reception of Christ in the Eucharist, and understanding and knowing his sacrifice in that as the one sacrifice offered once for all. So our sacrifices don't make it better, but it helps us grow more deeply connected. All right, I've got a mixture of jelly beans and candy corn. I hate this. There's kind of like a lot of flavors going on, and then just occasionally the cranberry shows up and is like, I'm here too. Well, it's not turkey flavored. All right, there. That's where I put it. The flavors are kettle corn, caramel apple, cotton candy, lemonade shake-up, strawberry funnel cake, and lemon lime snow cone. There is no protein in these. This is all sugar. The original, I would much rather that. Anyway, I was looking for some chairs. What am I missing now? I'm missing slabs. protein jelly beans sound like something an influencer I'd tell you a little bit, yeah. All right, and then I have the... Never mind, I was going to have the candy cane one separate because the mint power is just so powerful it overpowers everything, but it fell under my desk. Yeah, no, good question about the priesthood thing, Scruffy. Well, I need to close that off so people don't fall down. There we go. We got reference tables where you can work with some chairs. A chair in each reading nook. We'll put a end table next to it at some point. We'll do the same for the upstairs. Look, the idea of running a marathon sounds awful enough as it is. The idea of an ultra marathon sounds extra terrible. I don't understand why we run marathons. Like, literally the first guy who ever ran one, you know, how did it end for him? Just saying. Hey, if you want to run a marathon, in all reality, more power to you. But I'm gonna make a joke about it. Yeah, but the thing is, it's not that many hours in the end. It's like, if you're running a marathon competitively, it's only like 3 hours. Oh, I've got some pillagers visiting me. Hi, pillagers. Did you come to learn? Oh, I don't like how he's dragging that crossbow. Trash is a long time to be with your thoughts. Yeah. You can have worse company. Your pillagers come to your dirt hole. It sounds so depressing. Here, why don't you guys deal with this? And this. Okay, we have no more pillagers. You move to an enchanted forest with a giant mystical cavern in your backyard. Ooh, sounds lovely. Did I just use my pets? No, I used my Pokemon. Even worse, a friend. No, even better, a friend. A friend protects a friend. Maybe the ominous banner would look good on the library. Like Kingdom Hearts? Exactly! This is secretly just a Kingdom Hearts mod. There we go. Moving that jelly bean from underneath my feet. I like that. Now I just have to build it a couple more times. And then put roofing over it. But for now, we're going to go get more sand. So that we can make some more glass. So we'll drop off all this stuff. And we will ride into town. My spoon is almost broken. I should have made a new spoon. I tried throwing the jelly bean in the garbage and it bounced off the wall, and now it's somewhere in the middle of my office. This jelly bean's gonna haunt me. Yet I don't remember eating those cookies phase of your sweet cravings. Oh no! Did the baby eat the cookies? Yet the Oreo wrapper's still in the garbage can. Truly a mystery for our time. Anyway, if I come here to Phoenix City, there's a fair amount of sand. Baby's innocent. He has an alibi. That's what he wants you to think. I actually don't need a ton of sand. Which is good, because my spoon just broke. You took him to daycare. Well, that's what he wants you to think. Hello, random piece of iron. I don't know where you came from, but you're mine now. Are we gonna make it? Are we gonna make it? I think we're gonna make it. We made it. I have no sticks lying around here. I have sticks down there at the work site. He's drifting off into a good upright snooze. Power of a nap. Here we see the gentle Chiso drifting off into the slumber of the late afternoon. All will be well. He will awaken, groggy and disconcerted, but thankful nonetheless for the time. Little Cheesy's more tired than you. Double nap? We must sup first. Ah. Do not want to sleep and miss thine supper. Is a tale reserved only for Dickensian books. Also, if you're cooking dinner, you really don't want to fall asleep. Not a fan of Zelkovia planks. I liked him for that. I thought it was a nice palette. But to each their own. Wow, I missed hard on that one. I like how this is looking. We'll probably do one on each side of the lintel. And a bunch of work goals! Hey, it's all good. It's all good. Hope they were all good. Open set up a new client. Hey, nice. You know, if I had thought about this ahead of time, maybe I would have lined these up. But, oh well. thinking is overrated. It feels that way sometimes. But I'm still a fan of thinking, and I encourage others to do so. Something childlike faith. Something indeed. Rafters. I don't remember the last time I built... No, I do remember the last time I built rafters in Minecraft. It was for the train station in my original server. I should go back there sometime. Just show folks around. Okay, so that's ebony. I don't want to do the whole of... I kind of like this section being an ebony just because it's a different portion, but... Could do Zelkova. That's actually a nice dark gray. I'm going to go need... more pieces of it, because you need what I'm making it out of is the like the unstripped, or yeah, like the unstripped log variant. Hey, I hope. Doing just fine. Yourself? Let's fell one more tree. What are you? Oricorio. I have no idea what that is. Glad you're doing well. We're working on a library. Right now we're building its rafters. It's actually turned out to be a fairly one-day build. Except for the fact that we don't have all the books to fill the library. But that's, you know, we have some books in the library. We have enough for an enchanting table area. Who needs libraries anyway? Well... I mean, you don't now, but you did. I like how those reading nooks are, like, just that extra little texture that it gives. Okay, so I probably just want to do like normal Zelkova roof pieces, but I'm gonna need a lot more sticks. Am I going to have a grind wheel and a chest full of lapis lazuli? Why? Why? Like, I know lapis lazuli for enchanting, but like... Well, I mean, in that case, you bring your own lapis lazuli. I'm not gonna leave it out for others. So this will probably fill in with this kind of wood. Grind wheel can remove enchantments. What kind of sorcery is this? You know, I think I'll extend the roof one beyond the footprint of the building. Besides, what kind of library has a grindstone? The answer is my magic deck, because magic decks are called libraries. Don't you know I'm running that Painter's Servant grindstone combo? Actually, no, I'm not. I don't have that. I have both those cards. I just don't run that combo. It's a little too cheap. I prefer my combos to require at least 3 cards, and that's why I have a silly combo deck that is built around that very concept. I should put a lightning rod somewhere near this building. I have one near my house, so it doesn't burn down. See? Lightning rod. There were a couple others in the server who may have lost. I don't need to do that, actually, because I just do this. Who may have lost a bit of a wooden building. Right here looks like a good spot. Move. Get out of here. Go. I'm gonna punch you. I'm glad we had this talk. Electric Jim is just like Thunder playing Final Fantasy X. Oh no! Is Mary the Ark of the New Covenant? And they mentioned the Ark of the Covenant has Aaron's staff, who was the relationship to Jesus. Yeah, so we sometimes use that language. It's not necessarily something that's found in Scripture itself, but it is a sort of a reflection of who Mary is and who Christ is and what that means. Oh, more? Are you serious? Everyone go fight them. So it's ultimately a Christological reflection, but it's a way of understanding, like, who is Christ as God among us, and understanding what that means, and the symbol of the ark as a sign of God's covenant, and the way that Mary brings those covenants to fulfillment through her, through the birth of Christ. You know, we can definitely draw parallels and spiritual reflection from, like, understanding the manna as the bread from heaven that fed the Israelites in the desert, and Christ as the true manna, who's the bread of life, who feeds us now. I think Ephraim may have been one of the first to use that language. I could be wrong about that. No, you're all good to ask again. Yeah, it was, well, today's the Feast of St. Agatha. Who's, or not Agatha, sorry, Agnes. Agnes. And Agnes is, derived from the Latin word for lamb, and so lambs actually get blessed this day by the Pope, who, when they grow, their wool will be used to make the pallia, which is a vestment that archbishops wear kind of around their shoulders when they're presiding at Mass. And it's symbolic of the way they carry, like, the flock on their shoulders. Hey, not Brody. It's not Celestine. Or is it Celestine? Such a great emote. Yeah, everything utilizes mass is done with great purpose. You're doing a rebrand. Okay, are you gonna stick with Brody as part of the rebrand, or is it rebrand into something else? Either is good. I'm just curious. Something else. Third thing. Right on. This iron axe is not gonna cut it. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. That was not even... Glaceon! Yep, I'm the ice type gym leader, so... I caught an Eevee very early on and was like, well, Glaceon! Came back to the best joke. I don't think that was the best joke, but I'm glad you liked it. Need Bug Eevee? Bug V? How to evolve my Eevee to Empoleon? Next question. Where's my library? Any joke that takes you by surprise is the best joke. Okay, 52 is not going to finish it, but we can do a fairly sizable chunk on that side. We'll do that in the new day. Well, I always think it's later than it is down here with the sun setting behind the mountain, but, you know. Are priests called to be bishops in the same way that priests should not seek to be a bishop, but just sort of stumble upon it when they least expect it? I would say not so much. I think the office of bishop is more one that is the church calls you to it. It's, you know, it's not something you ever aspire to, and it's not something you seek. It's something that the Holy Father is like, hey, guess what? Whereas priest is much more something, you know, you actively aspire to and actively discern. You know, and some guys have a sense of vocation to the priesthood very early on. Some guys develop it much, much later in life. Oh, look, those distant horizons. It's because of the Distant Horizons mod. Priests exist because there aren't enough bishops to celebrate it at every altar? Not quite, because the office of presbyter, which is technically what priests are, it does exist before the need for more bishops. Priests celebrating and presiding at the Eucharist alone may have come about because of that. Would I have to rebrand the stream? I think if I became bishop, God help us all. God help me especially. I may not be able to stream in quite the same capacity. Although it's not unreasonable to still call a bishop father, because that is a core part of their role is as spiritual father. So I was the bishop of streaming. Unfortunately, that can't be because you have to be in the Catholic Church. You have to be bishop of somewhere. You can't just be a bishop. You can't just like be a bishop of a thing. So like all the bishops, you know, a lot of bishops work in the Vatican, but they're not bishops of a place. I hear you say. He said, seeking to answer his own questions. They are the bishop of titular dioceses, which are dioceses which once existed but exist no more. And so there's actually like a whole litany of dioceses, largely in North Africa. But that's where auxiliary bishops or bishops who work in the Vatican, they are technically a bishop of a place. Online, yes, I'm bishop of the server room. How about that? But I'm good. I feel very comfortable in my role in ministry as a priest, and I think that's enough. Hey, Greg, Bishop of Discord. There are jokes to be written there. He's Metropolitan Gregory of Nyssa. That is awesome. If I were the first bishop to stream Minecraft, I guess I'd have to be the first bishop to build his own cathedra in Minecraft. I'm sure historically there have been some other bishops who have been carpenters who have made their own cathedrals. Yeah, bishops are very busy. Also, this looks less like a library from the outside, and that's okay. And more like a quaint cottage or little home, and I kind of love it. Digital cathedral. Yeah, but the problem with the digital cathedral is you can't really do anything other than talk about like what a cathedral is. Because, like, it's not a cathedral, because I decided it wasn't one, but in the other server, there is the basilica, which is very cathedral-esque. Plus, I can't be a bishop yet. I'm canonically not old enough. Well, I remember hearing about that on a Roblox server, but it was... I seem to remember, like, reading into it and going, oh, it's not even actually Catholics. But... No, I forgot the Aquabats even had a new album. Oh, the aquabats. Oh, we're gonna be like too shy. And by like too shy, I mean like 8 shy, but still, like, look how close that is. Hey, Estella. Did she just wake up? Meeting time. Hey, you take care. Well, we're just about to wrap up anyway. No. Oh, okay. Well, that emote makes it look like you just woke up. Parapet. I want parapet. I want rooftop. I'm gonna need more Zilkova. Maybe. Well, I'm excited for your Goff episode this Friday. That's gonna be fun. No new candies? None since the musk stick and lavender got added. The musk one is interesting. It's like eating perfume. No, it didn't taste like jerky. It tasted like flowers and bitter. Yeah, look at this roof. This looks great. I love this. Not quite rosewater. More like an alcohol bitter. Like honestly, it tasted like if you've ever accidentally sprayed perfume or cologne in your mouth. Yeah, look at that library. Do I have any more Zelkova planks? No, but I do have Zelkova rooftops, so we could use those real quickly. That's lower base roof. That's if you're like doing what I did here where I had like a sloped roof. Free from out of jail! Welcome back. So yeah, Goff, I think that'll be fun. I had to explain to Tony's crowd why Made of Stitches is a porcupine. Or no, not a porcupine, a hedgehog. I had to explain that she's a mimic. Again, sentences, if you had told me when I started this, I would not believe you that I would say them. You should stream again, it's fun. But life happens. No. No! Interested in collabing? Sure. Send me a message on Discord. Yeah, especially if it's something Cobblemon here, since we're both on it, but if it's something else too. You need my Discord too. Well, if you do !Discord, it will take you to the Let Us Play Discord server, and from there you can hopefully pretty easily find the guy named Father Evan. Yeah, library. The grass is too tall. I like how these reading nooks turned out. I really like that. So we're going to have to get more books, enchanting tables, and then figure out some better lighting. But I'm thinking maybe a chandelier kind of here-ish, hanging over the gap. Do I like pralines? I think so. I mean, it's all sugar, right? Well, it's not all sugar. It's like sugar and nuts. Yeah, this will be a nice little library. Fill these shelves up. These will stay clear. Caramel and pecans? Yes. Then the answer is very yes. Thank you. I like it. Major Okibnishnik, you needed library. You need a place to study. It's place for gym, place for body. Now needs place for mind. Comrade, why is there a hole in roof? But that is where we're going to call it for the day. So I need to wrap up early today, so I started early because I got a meeting to attend to. Sometimes things happen and meetings just crop up and you're like, yep, got to make this work. But it'll be good. So yeah, so thank you for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with y'all today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Join us again tomorrow. What are we doing tomorrow? Tomorrow's Thursday. Where's the time go? Tomorrow is Banjo-Kazooie, potentially the last Banjo-Kazooie. I think we can finish it. I believe in us. Then Monday, we'll be starting Pokemon TCG. Tuesday, more Green Ember. And then Wednesday, it's always more Minecraft. So, Max Phobos cum. Et cum spirito tuo. Yeah, I think that's everything. So thank you to everyone who's liked, followed, subscribed, given bits, all that good jazz. Thank you for checking out the YouTube and the Discord, and hope you have a great rest of your day. And let's see who's live that we can raid into. I'm going to send you over to Okamira. She's part of V-Angeli. That's Junie's group of VTubers. She's playing with Chosen One New Jersey. He's also a fun VTuber. But they're doing some Phoenix Wright. So either raid call is either Father Raid, the standard, or Objection, because Phoenix Wright. So, you know, spam Objection. Anyway, have a great rest of your day. Take care. God bless.